Little update here on the Derp ATV. It's been a while. It's not like I've been burned out on the project or anything, but I've just been doing other stuff like insulating the shop roof and rebushing the Caterpillar idlers there on the dozer, trying to get shit ready for winter, you know. Because once it gets cold fast. But anyways, on the Derp ATV, I pretty much this weekend got the Gas 71 unit mounted to my power pack subframe. So this subframe will pretty much hold pretty much the engine, transaxle, and then the steering unit. So still looking out for a donor there. I'm thinking like a ECU 19 or a 20 Volkswagen TDI. So then scouring the marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist, seeing what deals come up. So hopefully that won't take too long. That'll probably be my limiting factor when I get this build done, because if you don't have an engine, you don't have an engine. Shit's not gonna move. Suppose I could put like an electric motor on here and battery bank of lithium ions. Maybe get like a Tesla bank, make it a fully electric Derp ATV with like a 20-mile range, of course. But anyways, really the last thing I need to do on this unit is replace the oil, because right now I'm running a 30 weight, and then I need to get these linear actuators rewired for the controller that will be coming in later this week, and then readjusting the band brakes. But those are all good jobs for a rainy day job, cold day job. So yeah, really the limiting factor now to getting this thing mobile is of course the engine. And I'm not gonna lie, after doing some tape measuring and stuff, it's gonna be kind of shoehorned in there, that's for sure. I think I can make it fit. It's just gonna be tight. So we got that done there. On the Derp itself, really not much. I did clean it up. I cleaned up all that corrosion, because you know this thing was exposed to the elements for gosh, probably 2 or 3 months before she was really fully weather sealed. So I just went in there with a wire cup and a shop vac and cleaned all that corrosion shit out. Tried to get the best I could in those chain boxes, but you know how that goes. Thicker plates on my pinion mounting, so that turned out really good in my opinion there. Nice and stiff. And then I got my sprocket couplers there that bolt up to the pinion wheel bearing there. So essentially what you see there was that Acura wheel bearing that houses up to the chains. And then there's just this common output shaft from the Acura that just slips right in there, and I just welded pretty much half the thickness of an 80 pitch chain. So it's like 1/4 inch steel sprocket is essentially what it is for the chain coupler that will go in there. And like I was saying before, that power pack will pretty much skid right onto those 2 box rails there. So I'll probably just get the engine hoist in there and just grease them up and drop it in, and then probably get like a come along to just pull it back. Like I said, it's gonna be shoehorned in there, but I think I can make it fit. Gonna have to make it fit, that's for sure. So yeah, that's it for the back end there. So move on to the front. I weather sealed all these because these were just stitch welded, the headlamp housings, and then I pretty much mounted up my headlamps and sealed those up with silicone. So subflooring, added the 1/4 turn, a little lifting hole here, and then I added kind of like a bulkhead here, and then eventually I got to get to adding the seats. I'm not sure what type of seats I'm going to be using, but essentially I'm probably just going to copy what the Sherp does for their seats. And what they do is they have plywood that is kind of clipped in from the back, and then there's like these little toggle latches that pull and draw them tight down. So I'll probably do something like that, so that way it kind of follows the same theme of being tool-free access. Regarding these are going to be using thumb screws when I get those in. Same thing goes back here, so that way you don't need any tools to get into this stuff. I guess I can give you a quick demonstration. So essentially, kind of unclip that, kind of pull that out right there, pull the first panel off, And then obviously there'll be a cutout here for the accelerator, but there are these tubes here that kind of hold this one captive underneath that panel there. So we take this guy out. You can tell I did my best job trying to get all that corrosion out, but it's looking a lot better than what it did. And of course you'll be able to pull the seats out too. That's my goal, just like the Derp ATV. Right now I just got plastic holding it down just for mock-up purposes. And then you can kind of pull this firewall off, or bulkhead, whatever you want to call it. Probably put some insulation, acoustic insulation back there eventually. And then, yeah, you'll be able to unscrew this guy too eventually. So then that way, because the transaxle I'm thinking is going to be about right here, so you'll be able to kind of access all those innards when you need to. Right here is just kind of where the exhaust inflation system is, the control set at least for it. So I got the ball valve here that isolates your wheels to your exhaust system, and then you have your diverter control right there, which is what you see over there. So what that will be, that will probably be mounted after the muffler there. That's my goal at least. Maybe I'll put it farther back just to minimize corrosion. We'll see. But that's pretty much that for that controls there. And then I also mounted up the micro switches that will actuate the linear actuators for the steering clutches on the Gas 71. So obviously these will have to be adjusted in time, but that's essentially what it's going to be like. So obviously that'll turn off your steering clutch, and then of course you'll actuate your brakes after that. And on the brake end, I'm thinking of pretty much mounting my brake reservoir probably like right here. It's a pretty good spot in my opinion, kind of tucked away. Plus it's not taking up too much space if you need to do any maintenance down there for adjustments. Yeah, let me put these things back in here. I mean, it's a pretty simple deal. I mean, the name of the game, just like the Derp, was to have tool-free access. And I'll probably eventually put like rubber matting or something, because it is kind of slippery. I will admit that. And then of course you can clip your seat back on there. And if we hop up in here, I did make the subfloor kind of angled so that way it gives you a better seating position for the driver, especially if you're going to have your accelerator and whatnot, because I am thinking of an automatic transmission, so there'll probably only be one pedal, to be honest. So that way if you do need to brake, you can just pull back both of your laterals. Exhaust controls. So this would be kind of like a normal cruising mode where you have your ball valve shut and then your diverter valve open for the exhaust, so it allows the exhaust to go out the muffler. But say if you want to deflate the tires, what you would do is you would open up the ball valve, and then obviously it would let any pressure from the tires out into the exhaust system and then out into the muffler. But say if you want to inflate the tires, what you would do is you'd leave the ball valve open, and then what you would do, you'd pull this guy up, and then that will shut the diverter valve from the muffler, and pretty much divert all the exhaust gases into the tires, just like the real Derp. So, and I went with a mechanical setup. I mean, you can buy the electrical ones, but just be wary of the Chinese things there. So actually, this was actually originally a vacuum operated system, but I just had this cable on hand, and just so happened to fit the bulkhead hole here. So I kind of made that work out. And plus it's such a thick cable, it can act like a push-pull. But yeah, once you get the pressure that you want, you can pretty much shut your ball valve and then reopen your diverter. So that way you're back to square one. So just a simple exhaust system like the Sherp. No, nothing fancy. But really, yeah, the last major deal that I want to kind of tackle is the powertrain, because it'd be really nice to get this thing mobile and move it under its own power. Because, you know, you can wrap yourself up in all these little small details, but at the end of the day, it's still sitting here doing nothing. So that's kind of going to be my my big push there, is just trying to find a donor vehicle. Because the first TDI that I bought, I wasn't too happy about it. The turbo was all shot, and I didn't want a project within a project, so I just waited until I had enough money to expand my budget. And now that I'm ready, I'll just have to scour the classifieds there on the internets and find something that I like. But the nice thing is, you know, all the grunt work is done. It's just putting the motor in, so that's the exciting bit. Putting the motor in, probably doing the wiring for the ECUs, and then pretty much plumbing up the diesel line and the return line too. So, and probably get the Webasto in there as well, just because, you know, it'd be nice to get some heat in here if I'm going to end up working in here. So that's pretty much it.